back at WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. The logo over here says, keep calm, stay local, and stay Baltimore Positive. We're doing all of that in the absence of sports. You will hear from mayoral candidates around here, along with Don Moeller and Baltimore Positive. That's the bottom part. Then there's a top part of WNST and the sports and what we do. This guy was starting to participate around here, and Dave Thurston from Crown Title, I think you and I probably would have been talking about, are we going to go coach your first class on Amtrak up to the Garden to watch the Terps this weekend in the Sweet 16? And then life deals you, life dealt us limes. I made margaritas the other night. I'm trying to do the best I can do, but these are very, very trying times. Welcome in. Good to have you aboard. Your background in basketball is sort of a hoopologist kind of guy, but also an owner of a very successful title company here. All planes are grounded, right? We're in a really strange spot, aren't we, since the last time we got together, right?
Well, we are. I don't think that anybody really could have anticipated the speed of it. I think I started hearing maybe 3 weeks ago. I took a trip up to New York the first few days of March, and those companies were really, I guess they're maybe a week or two ahead of us. They were really in a panic up there. They were getting their work at home procedures in place, and I was just thinking, wow, man, this is maybe a little different than we thought.
Now, you got sick after that, right?
No, I had a little head cold, but people started treating me like a leopard. But I'm fine. I didn't have any of the symptoms, and I've been going.
Well, you can always be asymptomatic, and I think that's the thing people don't understand about this virus. My wife, we came back from Asia in late December, and my wife was sick for 6 weeks in January and February, and they thought it was the flu, but it wasn't. They gave her Tamiflu. It didn't work, the whole deal. So, we're beginning to wonder, maybe, apparently it's like the chicken pox. From what I understand, you get it once, you don't get it again. Maybe you're done and through with it, right? So.
Well, listen, I did everything they told you not to do. I took a 10-day cruise to Hawaii. I flew 3 times, and I took a train back and forth to New York. So I was high risk. So I just sort of, I worked, but I worked in my office, and we shut down all meetings. We went to conference call only. So even though everybody was in the office, we were on call lines. And then we really screened our people at the settlement table to make sure they were not symptomatic at all, and they hadn't traveled, so we could protect our consumers. And then we've pretty much have functioned up until a few days ago as business as usual. And then, believe it or not, we got some great help from Annapolis on Friday, and they approved the emergency order from the Court of Appeals allowing remote online notaries. So that will change our business. So basically what that means, Nestor, if you were settling on your house today and, your wife unfortunately has had some health issues where her immunity could be compromised, you would say, Dave, I don't want to come in to your office because it's at risk for my wife. Well, I can now do your settlement through a portal and notarize your documents as if we were sitting at the same table. And those documents now are recordable at the land records in the city or the county, wherever you're dealing with. So,
well, it's amazing how many things we can do remotely if we work. The one thing we can't do is touch each other, hug each other, order a beer, get food. The things, sit down, the things that bring us together, community church, community synagogue, wherever it is, whatever we do, the getting together part, this is the weird part. We all think we'd like to be alone on an island for a little while and be like Ted Kaczynski up in the woods until you realize you'd lose your mind. You know what I mean? Like, there's a human touch to humanity that, I'm an extrovert, Dave. We're not all as extroverted as I am, but, even I think, man, I want to be around people. We walked through the harbor on Friday. We walked to Patterson Park from downtown. My wife and I got like a nice 5-miler in. It was 80 degrees out, and just trying to stay away from people. you think you don't like the people in your office till you don't see them anymore.
You and I are people person. So we did so all the guys I coach with in my AAU program, Maryland 3D, we did a Zoom happy hour on Saturday night. So we were watching some reruns of some hoop games, and we all poured ourselves. My wife was making quarantinis, which is just like a regular martini, but you drink it in a separate room by yourself. And then we did a Zoom with all the coaches. We had about 10, 15 guys on there just yakking it up and having fun. So we leveraged off technology, and that's really what I'm trying to do in my
See,
business.
there's the reason
now.
I bring you on, to come up with things like quarantini, stuff that I don't even find on the internet anywhere, Dave. I mean, quarantini. I mean, that's. We're gonna. I had some margaritas the other night. I got to come up with a new name. I'll get Julio, my friend, to help me out with that. But we're all like finding a different way to do this. We're going to find a different way to do this. I navigated a Walmart in Arbutus at 7:30 on Saturday morning with rubber gloves. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
That's everything we've seen on TV. It's come here now, and how we manage this financially for what houses and banks and where we are, realistically stopping things from getting done that were in progress. Where do you see this in the next week or two or three? In the short term, as example, we're supposed to go to a wedding in Germany this week, right? Like, so a lot of that's being done on Zoom now. But at what point would there be a link between getting a deal done and not being able to get a deal done? And obviously, trying to pick up and move your house right now is not realistic, right?
Well, there are challenges for sure. I think that will be allowed under, the governor. He'll issue a stay-at-home order soon, I would think. But we'll be allowed to work because we're vital to access the capital and access the funding for the consumer. So we are considered, title companies are considered a financial service company under the Dodd-Frank Act. We should be able to stay in business. Now, that said, Nestor, we started a process last week where we have everybody working at home except for our 5 or 6 we will call key managers that are here that can supplement an issue that we might have in the field. So we took our 40 employees, and 32 of them have been on work at home orders for a few days. And that we have an 8,000 square foot building, so we got about 8 people over here per. Everybody's spread out, and we're going to be able to close, and we're going to be able to keep doing business. Now the question is, it won't be our inability to process deals and get them done, because we can leverage all technology. We can do that. The problem I'll see in my business will be the slowdown will be caused by a lack of consumer confidence. If unemployment is going to go from 3% to 30%, then what's going to happen to unemployment over the next 60, 90 days? If we're here 60 days from now and it's back down to 6 or 7, and the rates are in the low 3s, our business should recover. We'll have a tough 90 days, but it should recover. If the rates are above 4 and unemployment's above 10, we'll be in at that point in a pretty serious recession. And I think the housing market would really suffer. So there'll be many less new purchases. And then you'll have the issue with if the rates are over 4, you won't have any refinances in the market either. So that's really our risk is a consumer confidence type thing on the future orders. Our risk immediately in the next 6, 7, 8 days is will the lenders be able to continue to fund if their employees go to work at home or stay at home orders in their local states. And we do business nationwide. We're in 30 states, and our funding's coming from a lot of different places. But if they, because of maybe security with dialing into their systems, they can't fund, then that'll create difficulties. But the White House has promised there'll be no interruption in the banking system. We're part of the banking system, so we are prepared. We're prepared, and we can do it. Hope the lenders will stay in the same. The same.
But 30% unemployment is something I don't think anybody. There's no model for that, man. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
As to exactly what happens and who it unemploys and what it means to housing and what it means to. I mean, they've already said that you can't. They're not going to kick people out of homes in this country right now. They may shut your lights off. I don't know. Shut your water off. I mean, all that is obviously at the bottom of all of this. Bankruptcy lawyers and bankruptcy people are going to be going crazy. But also, and maybe this is something for just a regular guy like me. The reason I created Baltimore Positives, I couldn't give my home away to begin with because I already live in a depression at the Inner Harbor. Like literally, $600,000 condos or $300,000 if you want to give them away tomorrow morning. And that was before this manure hit the fan last week. The idea of refinancing when rates go to some crazy low level that you can get in, of course, you'd still have to have your job and your income at that point in order to qualify for that, right?
Correct.
But that is
So,
something
and
8 months from now, 6 months from now, we come out of this thing, rates are crazy 3, 2.8, something crazy, something we never heard of before, that there is an opportunity because, like, my wife's got a cool job and she gets to keep her deal. Whether I get to keep my gig depends on the 40 sponsors around here supporting me, quite frankly. It's pretty obvious what keeps me in business, right? But
right. Well, and that's really the hard part, right? This is the 2008 crisis was a Wall Street crisis. You can debate the politics of the bailout, but that was a Wall Street, and they took the 5 or 6 largest financial service companies, they bailed them out. Now this is a Main Street crisis, right? I talked to one CPA over here at Catonsville, and they stopped doing compliance work a few weeks ago because of they knew the tax deadline would be extended. The April 15th deadline would be extended. They did financial projections for their company, for their clients, saying, okay, if you lose 2 weeks of revenue, you lose 4 weeks of revenue, you lose 6 weeks of revenue. He's saying after 2 weeks, close to 30% of those businesses do not have cash resources or lines of credit they can tap. So without some immediate help from SBA, and
they're out of business June 15th, literally,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Well, then look, either they're out of business or they just refuse to pay. They lay everybody off and they don't pay their accounts payable. If they don't pay their accounts payable, then they're kicking the can down the road, but they're just putting someone else.
Well, then I don't get paid, right? Exactly. Yeah.
There you go. Right. So it's a lot of moving parts right now. We're blessed. I think I'm going to be able to retain my employees unless I get some really bad luck. I should be able to retain them all, and that's my goal. And we've put some financial projections in place. We have some cash reserves. We have a line of credit. And that's what we really want to do because we have a great team and they're hardworking. And, we worked all weekend trying to implement new software to navigate this. We're going to come out with a new product by the end of the day or early tomorrow. So,
well, and that's going to be happening in your industry. Relief is going to be a full-time job for you. Dave Thurston's here. He's the owner of Crown Title. Man, you and I used to get together on basketball. I just hearing you talk about this in a strategic way. Obviously, you've done well for yourself and created a business, and we talked about that the last time you were on of like how all of us, how I went from being a sports writer to like owning a station that has an FCC license with all sorts of emergency things that we're involved with, having an FCC license that I've had to learn a little bit about. They always say you have an FCC license in case of catastrophe, national emergency. Well, here we are, right? So, I have things that I've signed up for as a stakeholder in the community as well. And I think the amazing part of this is it's a challenge for all of us who've ever played tennis, wrestled, basketball, football, the strategy, trying hard, trying to outsmart the competition, trying to build a business, trying to create an edge, trying to create a market advantage, trying to stay ahead of things, trying to see something around the corner and down the bend and over that you can't possibly see. And it's going to challenge everyone. And the one thing about this is, I think you would agree, there's a lot of lazy people in our culture. There's a lot of things wrong with our culture, a lot of things broken about our culture. But there's also a lot of achievers in our culture. And there's a lot of sports-related people who want to be the Tom Brady or the Michael Jordan of whatever their industry is. Lord knows I wanted to be the Cal Ripken of sports radio. I wanted to be Chuck Thompson and John Miller and, Vince Bagley and Howard Stern, all that, right? That there's a North Star in our culture that's going to bring everybody to that point where Tyson hit him in the jaw. We all took the Tyson punch to the jaw. Now we're trying to figure out how we're going to rebound, and all of us have a little fight in us, right?
Well, Nestor, we're doing daily conference calls with our 40 employees because I know the stress they have on them. A lot of them have young children at home. Some are single parents. So now not only are they trying to navigate the financial part of this crisis, they need to know the financial health of our company and what our plans are. And they have to homeschool their kids in some respects now. So the stress level obviously is through the roof. So I said 3 things to them last night. The first thing I said is the strength of our country has always been our people and our military. And I truly believe from this, it's a little bit like 9/11. You're going to have, sure you got the idiots that are price gouging for masks now. Those companies should be put out of business. I mean, that's a
By the way, I have
story.
toilet paper on the set here, Dave, just to let everybody know that, I'm okay for now. When you see this go away, I mean, the red flag will go up, and I don't mean the Terps magma lamp here. Yes.
But the strength has always been in our people and our military. It's not our politicians. I'm not waiting for D.C. to help me because I don't believe they can. Annapolis has been great to our business. So I'll give Governor Hogan.
No,
and
Larry's
his
shown
group.
incredible leadership this
Yeah.
week. He really has.
So
And we're getting
I'll
to
tip
see
my hat.
what good and bad leadership looks like across the country, literally across the country,
Sure.
where leadership is to say, this is what's safe, this is what's not, this is what's real, this is what's false, this is what's true about the mask, this is what's fake, this is why you need to stay in the house and why we need to educate you. You know, we have a lot of people here who are not educated in our country. I see it just in general. They don't make good decisions, and they're being asked to do something that's incredibly awkward. I mean, and Dave, I've told this story all week, but it's been 6 years ago this week. It was March 20th that my wife was diagnosed with cancer. And the night that it happened, she put masks on. And I'm like, you know, I've always seen the Asian people wearing masks and cancer patients, but I really don't understand the science of that, right? So when they tell you you have leukemia and you need to put a mask on and you need to have your hands clean because if you bring a germ into a hospital room, your wife's going to die, and you figure this out at 45. Now, I always had clean hands and tried to brush my teeth. And, you know, I mean, I like a clean play. I'm a clean person. But there's clean and then there's bacteria and germ clean.
It's sterilized, right?
Yeah.
Clean and then there's sterilization. Sure.
And, you know, having spent nights in a rubber suit next to my wife with a full body mask on to keep her safe when she was neutropenic and had no immune system, you know, I start to... It's very, my wife and I are built for this. Elbow bumping, not touching, staying away, not leaning into conversations where people's breath get up on your face. And I've had people pull me in with the hard handshake and, you know, old timers that want to show you what kind of a man they get up on you. I'm like, you can't do that to me, you know? And there were a lot of people I offended back in the day where they would come up and try to hug me because my wife was sick. I'm like, you can't touch me. You can't get near me.
Yeah.
I go near her. And I lived my life in a bubble while moving around with other people. And now the whole world's there. And I don't know how well the world is to handle that because Dave, I wore a mask. My wife spent 155 nights in the hospital, 2 stays in 2 years. And it never was comfortable. It was never normal. What never wasn't a pain in the ass. It never didn't fog my glasses up. Like literally all of that, right? And you never didn't smell whatever you were drinking. Literally. And so it made you drink better stuff. You know, but the habits that are going to need to be in place to keep everyone safe, there really is a part of leadership where these Larry Hogan press conferences have been trying to express to really pissed off business owners why they had to shutter their doors when a week before they didn't even anticipate anything like this, right?
Well, you know, Nestor, I agree 100%. I think Cuomo's done a very good job, and I think, you know, and I'm trying to really model that with what I'm doing and giving my employees.
By the way, if you want to model something, go see the Marriott, the CEO of Marriott, Arnie. I don't know the last name.
Okay.
Go watch his 7 minutes. It was legendary, literally legendary. And if you haven't seen, and I share all the best stuff I see, and anybody follows me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you know that, especially in a time of crisis. The woman who was the doctor in Chicago that Pritzker put up as the Fauci of the state of Illinois.
I saw that.
Oh my God, she was outrageously good.
Yeah. So, well, listen, let me just tell you what I'm telling I got three sons, 28, 25, and 22. My 22-year-old, I'm saying I don't want to hear shit about how your social responsibility your generation is and climate change, because you guys are out there in spring break sharing beer bongs, shooting, doing shooters, hugging each other. I mean, if you look at the videos from Florida, you got to say to the younger generation, come on, man, this is your time. You want to teach.
Well, you also have to get the Jeeps up on the beach and say, "Get off the beach." We're shutting the party shut down. You'd have no problem doing that at 2 a.m. Right? You'd have no problem doing that if there were fights breaking out. You'd shut it down. And now we're talking about a pandemic. You shut it down.
I told him. Listen. I told him. I said, look, your great grandfather had to go fight World War II. We're just asking you to sit on your couch and play video games. Just stay in, man.
But, Dave, you know as well as I do, shutting that beach down in wherever, Daytona, wherever it was, Panama City, doesn't matter where it was. City X, Clearwater, I think is the place it really was. But, you know, the mayor of Clearwater has to explain to, 500 business owners who all voted for him and put signs in the window why he's shutting their business down. And, you know, on spring break weekend and St. Patrick's Day, right? I mean, we walked through Federal Hill on St. Patrick's Day, and I just thought about how many businesses that really count on things like that, and how you just are never going to make that up, right?
Yes.
But then
March
there's
Madness
life over
being
that.
canceled.
Yeah.
Look. I have a friend of mine owns a bar over in Catonsville. He said, "Dave, March Madness, that's $40,000 to my bottom line. I'm never getting that back. Opening day you might get back, because opening day might happen in July now or whatever that would be, or maybe mid-June if we're lucky. But March Madness and you're a bar owner, Nestor, if you own a bar and you're making $100,000 a year, March Madness was 40 of it. You just went 100 to 60 overnight. You got a couple kids in school and issues like that. It's hard to stretch it.
Well, it is, man. You miss sports, right? I mean, dude, we're 20 minutes into this, and I think part of this for every one of my guests this week will be we all love sports. It's kind of, that's the part that brings us all together, right? And when you take it away, we've never experienced anything like this as human beings, but more than that, as sports fans too, which is the thing we love the most. It's a hobby. It's a passion.
I found myself watching some of the older games and just appreciating more. You know what I thought would have been a great idea, Nestor had, if they show the Maryland-Indiana final from 2001 would be if Gary would commentate the game. Take the audio off and have Gary tell the fans. This is where I was thinking with the substitution pattern. People didn't really know Mouton had a bad ankle. I had to switch this matchup up, the strategy of it, so fans could learn a little bit more. When they tell me a guy like Gary can't coach or a guy like Turgeon can't coach, watch them coach the game. Hear them coach the game, every little detail of it, the decisions they're making. People don't understand in a basketball game, there's 300 or 400 possessions. You got 5 people on the floor and you got to call an offense or defense. You're making 1,000 decisions in that time span. So it would be interesting if they would have done that. I would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have seen, John Thompson commentating the Carolina-Georgetown game when Jordan made the shot and what he was thinking and why he played defensively, why he shaded Worthy instead of playing it straight, all those little strategy decisions. I thought it would have been great. Or if they would have got game notes from him and broke in with little game notes so people would have learned.
Or have Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan sit down and, and go through a game together. Any of those big games, right? I mean,
Hubie Brown. Hey, Hubie Brown. Hubie Brown's one of the greatest technical coaches of all time. Would love to see him do something like that where he had the time really to do it. But that's just me because I'm into that stuff.
Well, hey, man.
No,
Yeah, go ahead. You said keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been to the average fan or maybe the fan that hasn't had a chance to the coach at a high level or play at a high level to hear that perspective of the game within the game would have been a great educational thing, and I think would have been fun for the fans because it's just something to see how these guys' minds work and how they prepare their team and really what they value and what they don't value. I've been lucky enough to watch game film with some of these guys, and I'm amazed even after doing it. And I know if you go out, and people would be the same if you went out to the Ravens. If you broke down game tape with Harp or the OC or the DC, man, I don't know much about football. So
that's how I learned football. Marvin Lewis used to break it down every Friday. He and Jim Schwartz and I would sit in the office, and then Mike Pettin and Rex Ryan carried that on until Harbaugh got here. And since then, I haven't really watched film with anybody other than Brian, really. And it's been a long time since I've done that with a coach. But
so that perspective, and it's just I wish everybody could experience that. I really do. I think every sports fan.
And that's what Ron Jaworski and those guys. You know what I mean? That's what there is a market for that. Baldinger does Baldy's breakdowns. I mean, with football, it's become something that, as Luke always says, as interested as you are in it, you can find a community that will let you be the biggest Sabre nerd in baseball, the biggest technician with hockey, with soccer, with anything, right? And we're only as good as the people we follow, right? And this is a time where we're all looking to be led, and we're all looking for new wisdom and new strategies and the new world, because there's going to be a whole new world on the other end of this, right? All the way around.
Absolutely.
For sports, for fans, for concerts, all of the things that we took for granted have now been taken away, and we're going to go sit in our room and try to figure this out for a while, right?
We're going to come back stronger than ever. We're going to be better for this. I hope we can minimize the deaths. I'm fortunate in that my mom and my mother-in-law are both healthy for their age and haven't had any significant health issues. But we're going to come back better than ever. And I would tell you it's going to be a lesson learned for these hospitals, because I'm a little confused, and I've never worked in a hospital, Nestor, but I'm a little confused how they could be caught so off guard. I mean, because we have a large government contract with my business, we have to have a disaster plan that we test, and we have to meet certain parameters. And I just don't know how none of these hospitals had, 30, 40,000 masks in storage, or 2,000, 3,000 gallons, whatever they need now. I can see the ventilators because of the expense, but the basic equipment, I am just not sure how they got caught. I mean,
I'd be counting on the pandemic team for that, and they were fired 2 years ago. So, there'll be books written about this. Believe me, there'll be books written about this. Hey, dude, take care of yourself. Keep your company strong, your people strong, keep your family safe. By all means, I'm telling everybody, wash your hands, right? I got to tell everybody it's a FCC regulation, wash your hands. Dave Thurston's here. He's the owner of Crown Title. I'd love to tell you we're getting back to basketball and all that, but we're going to appreciate the hell out of it when it comes back, right?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And I feel sorry for the Terp fans out there, because I really think that, they had a chance to maybe make a little run this year. And I think the time off would have helped, and they were going to have a few days off. And I looked at, Kansas was coming on strong. I thought Kentucky was really coming on strong. And I'm going to give a shout out to Emmanuel Quickly and his family, a local boy, to be SEC Player of the Year. Is tremendous, and the improvement that he showed from November to the February is probably, to me, one of the most improved players in the country ever. I mean, what that kid did. So, and some of that was some things Cal did to make some changes. But I really thought Kansas and Kentucky had great chances. I thought Maryland had a chance to make a run, and it'll be the season that didn't get finished. Right? It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Well, as a competitor.
I can only imagine how many lacrosse kids, baseball kids, softball kids, just everyone who plays anything spring sporty at any level, from, kids on up through college and the pros being taken away in baseball. But I said, we're all going to sit in our room here and have to figure this out. I hope we all stick together. That's kind of the goal here, Dave, and I appreciate you spend a little bit of time. Take care of everybody over at Crown Title. Stay safe, wash your hands, socially distance, and good luck with all that Zooming you're going to do. I haven't shaved in a month. I don't know. I'm sort of going hockey beard. I'm trying to figure it out, man.
Well, God bless you, Nestor. I hope your family continues to have health, and we love you, brother. Keep doing your thing.
We'll stay in touch. Dave Thurston, owner of Crown Title. You can find him out. He and I, this is how infectious diseases work, Dave. You and I have 285 mutual connections on LinkedIn. See, if one of us had it, we'd all have it, right? I mean, we're all in it together here. I guess that's the point. Keep calm. Stay local. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Towson and Baltimore Positive.